Hello YouTube peers and welcome to What Did You Miss? Episode 13. Today we're going over what looks to be about 18 highlights or so. A lot of these are split up with the various Mario Maker 2 and LeveLHead streams. Let's get started with the non-Mario Maker and LeveLHead content. So, I played some Sonic the Hedgehog 3. This was Zone 7, the Mushroom Hill. And I had been there before, but I didn't beat this boss, so we beat him this time. And then we went, this is Zone 8, went to here, and was here for most of the time I was playing Sonic 3 that day, as you can see. It was a pretty difficult zone to be in, so here's hoping we can beat it next time. Then we have, I was playing Rabbids in Kingdom Battle. Which is a Mario game. We did a lot of fighting pretty much. That's pretty much all you do is these like Final Fantasy Tactics battles, and like in between battles you collect some coins by traveling around the map. You spend the coins on upgrades for your characters and stuff like that. Oh, and this was my first time fighting what seemed to be like a boss fight, actually. I think this was, I think I had to beat this before I could rescue Luigi. So we were just using Rabbit Luigi up until then, and now we have access to both kinds of Luigi. So that's kind of cool. So I've benched the Rabbit Peach. Started upgrading some of my character's skills, which requires purple resources, wherever you get that from. This Chain Chomp is apparently a neutral hostile, so he'll go for you or the enemy. But he never ended up going for me because I was careful, and he was a big help in defeating the enemy. And then there's a bit of a platforming puzzle here, which reminds me of what you'd see in a lot of role-playing games. Definitely something that I don't mind seeing every once in a while, but when like every dungeon has stuff like that, it gets kind of old pretty fast. Anyway, we're still early in the game for that. I think all that's left now is Mario Maker 2 and LeveLHead as far as what I streamed during the week. So since we were looking at Mario just a moment ago, let's continue looking at Mario stuff. So we were playing a Super World recommended by one of my viewers. The person had taken down the Super World, so I had to start playing it outside of the actual Super World. So what he did was he replaced it with a new Super World. So he has like something around 80 courses on this particular account, and he had one Super World on it, and then took it down for a new one. Anyway, I played 5 courses this day, but only highlighted the last 3 because they were the better ones. This one looked nice. It had a lot of enemies. They were a bit difficult to dodge, but it was kind of fun. And there's this level which I didn't really like all that much. I feel like it was confusing / not really placed tested as well as it could have been. But it was still interesting to look at. It gives people some ideas, blah, blah, blah. And then we had this level, which looked really good. Very strange overall. But it was alright. It felt pretty traditional, although like the boss fight at the end was kind of weird, but it's whatever. The boss fight at the end was not like particularly hard or easy, but it was just kind of strange. Anyway, so that was the fifth map, pretty much one of the highlights. Anyways, I actually skipped 5-2. I didn't want to play it. I actually thought it was a bad level, so I just skipped it. So usually, actually, that was the first time in that guy's super world that I booed something. And we have a highlight of me playing a level that I saw a streamer play. They didn't get very far though. I believe they did not get past this room, which is like the third room, but I could be misremembering. In any case, they didn't beat it. And I think you have to get through 4 or 5 rooms. Not too sure. This room I struggled with a bit. Or maybe more than a bit, yeah. Over half an hour struggling on that, I think. So that might have been the last room, actually. Well, no, there was like a goal room, like bonus thing that you could do, maybe? I didn't really examine it too much. I just grabbed the goal because I was running out of time, I think. Well, it had hit the 100-second mark, so... Anyway. Pretty fun puzzle, and so I was glad to be able to beat it on my first session of trying to play it. It did take me a while, but it's to be expected out of a difficult level. Anyway, what else did we have? There's a coin collection level. This one took me even longer than the puzzle level did. This one was just collecting 10 coins, just 10 regular coins. So they could be in a wide variety of places. We had like one in a box, one in a tree, one over in this corner, and one in the other corner, and so on. There were some power-ups in a few places, like there was a star and there's a cat suit. Anyway, yeah, as you can see, it took me almost an hour to beat it. But it was pretty fun. I definitely enjoyed it. It's nice to find super expert courses like this and haven't been cleared yet in detailed search. I'm not sure why it was like dropping frames or whatever there. Yeah, that's weird. Like, what? Is there something wrong with my internet? Or was there something wrong with the stream at the time? Could be one or both, I don't know. Anyway, the final coin is easy to get. Anyway, that one was loads of fun. Then we had 3 more highlights. Let's show off this one real quick here. This one's from Laurel Sagan, or whatever his name is. He's some famous streamer. His levels were mostly bad levels, but this was a really good one. It wasn't particularly hard, really, but it was pretty good, though, despite that. He had another catsuit, castle level, but it was nowhere near as good as this one was. It was also kind of mean, because it had sort of like a hidden death clock inside of it, sort of, or a hidden speedrun, whatever you want to call it, where you, like, there's a key off screen that you can acquire if you go fast enough on an early section or something. And I was just like, once I realized that that's what was happening, because I checked out the clear video, I was like, you know, I don't really want to go fast, and like, this is just dumb. Like, I don't like speedruns, so I just skipped it. I suppose if I wanted to, I could eventually beat that level, but it looked like the difficulty was not going to let up anytime soon, most likely. So I figured I might as well just throw in the towel early on that one. Anyway, we also had me playing this level, which had already been beaten. This was uploaded by a viewer of mine who makes mostly hard levels, and usually tries to make them pretty big most of the time when they make them pretty hard, which, I like big levels. So a lot of the time I end up enjoying the stuff that he sends me. He suggested I play this one, and as you can see, it took me over 2 hours to clear it. It was pretty hard. There were a lot of meowsers chasing you. I guess theoretically you could kill them, but I don't think any of them have a key. Anyway, it's not easy to kill them because they have wings, blah blah blah. I think I might have gotten worse as I kept playing, but eventually I ended up beating it. I'm not sure how much it helped or didn't help or whatever to have inverted colors on, but when I turned on the inverted colors, it killed the death tracker, so that was disappointing. Like, look, even 15 minutes in, I'm able to grab the key, but then getting to the bottom is another story. Anyway, I feel like I should have been able to beat this faster, but I wasn't. There was a lot of pressure on me, blah blah blah. It was fun though. I enjoyed doing it. And it says how many deaths it was. This death count can't be any higher, but it's possible it could be lower, but I don't think it is. But take a look at the death count as I started the level, and then the death count when I ended. So anyway, now we have final development of Brady's Wet Garbage. This was me simply building a level. I was going to do other stuff that day, but I ended up not spending any time doing anything else as far as streaming goes. And in fact, I was working on this before I started stream, but I accidentally forgot to start streaming. So, of course, I was working on it off stream on purpose too. So I came up with this section that you're supposed to go underneath the arrow gates with, but if you want to go over, you can, but it's kind of more dangerous, but it's sort of easier to go up above, if that makes sense. Because the chain chomps are unlikely to come down and attack you because the arrow gate's being in their way pretty much. So that's why it's safer to go down below, but it's kind of hard to fit in between the bumpers. Anyways, we had to use specific 12 items. That's why this level looks kind of terrible. There's like no terrain anywhere because he didn't random any terrain with his randomizer. He randomed these items, as you can see here, for us to be allowed to use with the contest. In a few days, he's supposed to be doing the playing of those levels, so I guess might be playing some of those levels today. So I don't have much else to do at the moment. So I came up with a use for the P-switches, which was to block off the checkpoint. So you kind of like got to jump high enough or you won't be able to like get to the checkpoint basically because of the P-switch wall. So that was an interesting usage of them. Then we have some LeveLHead highlights. So let's start off with on the 22nd I was working on a course. I started the Find Battery and Forest course. So this was, after having played a lot of Pure Nix's levels where he has you go fetching batteries and throw them at the charge switch. And so I came up with some ideas. And, I generated some platforms and some batteries and stuff. And some decoration. And that's pretty much it. And then we have me playing a viewer level. So he actually did not submit this to me, but I had seen another streamer play it, and I was able to play it while he was here. So I was able to play in addition to the level that he wanted me to play. And it took me a while to beat it. As you can see, a little over 22 minutes, but I got it. Could have been a lot longer. I might have played it off stream. I don't know if I did or not, but if I did, I definitely played it a long time ago. It could have just been that I saw someone else play it. Sometimes some of the levels are pretty similar to each other and they can get a little confusing, but I probably had played it. I guess we could know if I... No, because once I type it in, see, it kicks you right into the level right away. You don't need to look at whether or not you've played it before when you type it in like that. So, but my speculation is that I had played it before on the night that I saw it being played by someone. Anyway, nowadays I don't really try it on the same night that I see someone play it. I just mark it down on my notepad and then play it later on stream. Anyway, because usually like there's a decent chance that somebody watching will be able to help me figure out how to proceed if I get stuck, and that could be pretty nice. So on this level, this is one of Pure Nix's levels. I played a few of his at least on that day, but this was the only one that I really liked, I guess, all that much enough to highlight anyway. But this level kind of annoyed me because I couldn't find the key chest. I didn't get all the gems because of that. So I spent a long time, look at that, over 17 minutes playing this, because a lot of it was spent trying to get 100%, and I never was able to do it for some reason. I theorized that there might have been some key chests inside that area with the red spikes, or whatever you call that stuff, but I tried throwing the key to make it roll around down there. Didn't bump into any key chests, like inside of an enclosure or something. So I don't know, because I was able to pick up the key sometimes when it was down there on the ground, but when I couldn't grab it, then I thought maybe it slid into an enclosure, but maybe it didn't slide close enough to a chest, but I can't see inside of the enclosure, so I kind of gave up on it because I have no idea how close I am or I'm not to getting the key into the chest. So, if I don't know if the chest was actually there or not, but if it was, then I couldn't access it. Okay, so the next highlight would be this one, the hall. This one was really nice. Actually gave this guy a lot of exposure bucks. I'm not sure where I saw this level, but it could have been that a streamer was playing it. It might have been Noob Jr. if that's the case. I don't know. But whatever the case, I had it written down in my notes that I was supposed to be playing this. And so it basically just goes around, kind of like a racetrack, sort of, with the auto scrolling, forcing you to advance. First you go right, then you go up, then you go left, then you go down. So that was really cool. It's like a box auto scroll concept, which I thought was really neat. And I think I would like to emulate that sort of format for auto scrolling at some point or another, because that seems pretty fun. I think what I could do is after you go to the end of it, well, I'll have to give it some thought, but yeah, I was thinking maybe you could make the path go backwards. Anyway, I was just talking about blah blah blah, whatever. I may have been commenting on the fact that early parts of the level can sometimes feel boring for players. I didn't particularly think that was boring, but it was somewhat time consuming. I started dying towards the end with the hard part. And then I figured it out. It was a little bit of a puzzle solver, sorta. It wasn't really that tough. Like, at first I was trying to avoid the plop flushes, but then I realized I didn't really need to. You can just land on them for the most part. Unless I was jumping on too many of them, but anyway, yeah, 4 very interesting sides of the auto scroll to go through, and I'd say the one at the bottom was definitely the easiest. Anyway, where were we? Okay, so, oh, I forgot about this. There's a Crash Bandicoot highlight too. We'll just go over this really briefly. So basically, this was the level after Dino Dash. I sat through the cinematics, blah blah blah. What was this level called? Out for launch. So this was out for launch. So I spent I think like half an hour plus on this level, and part of it, like, I was not understanding things. Like, jumping on those arrow walls was kind of hard for me. Sometimes I wouldn't necessarily recognize that they were there. Anyway, yeah, there's not very much color contrast with a lot of sections of this particular course. So that's my main issue, I guess, with it, with my lack of clarity and knowing what I'm supposed to do next. Like right here, like, it's hard for me to tell that, like, apparently you're supposed to, like, get on the ceiling there with the mask. You can't go left, you can't go right, you can't go forward. So the only way to survive is going up. But apparently I knew that, but I still struggled to actually even just, see, that's the mask right there at the checkpoint. Like, it's not like, sometimes I was confused and sometimes I wasn't, and, even when I wasn't confused, it was still hard. So, and this is part of the same level. It got more two-dimensional at this point, more or less. This part was pretty tricky, pretty hard to be consistent on, but it was kind of fun to play through for sure. I felt kind of bad on this level in particular because on that 2D level, because I was taking so much damage, but because I was on easy mode, I got so many extra hit points that I wouldn't have gotten if I was on hard mode. So I felt kind of lousy about that. So I may go back and beat it on hard for next stream. Now that I've already beat it on easy, hopefully I'll be able to handle it. Who knows? But actually, what I may end up doing is I may just play this off stream in any case, because it's pretty time consuming and we don't get too many people watching me play Crash 4. Alright, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 more LeveLHead highlights before we're done with the video. We've got Lion Scavenged by Saber. This was the guy with the other desert level, the one that was a bunch of parkour. This level I highlighted because it reminded me of Koloro, which is another platforming game. I wouldn't say it necessarily played like Koloro, but the layout of the level was very Koloro-like in my opinion. So, it was cool. It was probably accidental. He probably built this for, like, inspired by a power build or something, I would imagine, but anyway. Whatever the case, it seems like it's a daily build they came up with. It was pretty clever. Maybe daily builds and Koloro inspired levels are probably go really well together. Maybe I should try to do something like that at some point. Well, anyway. Yeah, I was talking about playing Mario 64, but I probably won't actually play Mario 64 moving forward. I think I've actually decided that I want to start letting go of games, like letting go of the idea of doing post-game content in them. Um, of course, I've done post-game content for a lot of games I like a lot, but I can't really say that I like Mario 64 a lot, so therefore I feel like I should just give it up, give up the idea of doing the 100% on it. This was another level that I saw a streamer play at some point or another. This level you have to quickly get the gems. This I think was the hardest challenge throughout it all, and I got to there by the third minute. So this one took me a little while to figure out, or maybe it wasn't the hardest challenge, but it was the first really difficult one at least. I guess it was a relative. Oh, this one was the hardest maybe. This one took me a really long time to figure out the heart. Picked a couple of flingos, the heart of gems. And we got past it eventually, and then we have this section, which is kind of spicy. It's kind of like a two-room section. So because it was 2 rooms, it was took me a little bit of time to figure. I'm not sure why we have so much time me just talking at the end, but I guess I had some words for Noob Junior or whatever. Anyway, then we have 3 more. So we have To the Scrub Tree by Radioinactive. This is one of his better levels. This was basically just a parkour level. It was kind of like a training level, actually, with all these buddies. And trying to, like, help you get good at actually using your shells. These are actually Ocula shells. So I don't know why it doesn't say to the Ocula tree, but I don't know, maybe it didn't have enough space for that or something. Actually, isn't Ocula less words? I mean, less letters? Whatever. Maybe just thought Scrub Tree sounded cooler, so this doesn't really matter. Or maybe I just didn't remember what the name of the shells are that he was using. I mean, were there any scrubs in the level at all? Like, maybe there were some, and I just wasn't paying attention, but I see a lot of orange shells pretty much everywhere, so... Oh, there's a scrub. He's right up there. Okay, so I guess it was the correct word that he used, because he does have a scrub at the end, for some reason. I can see why how that could confuse people, though. The naming. Anyway, Blast Away by Beneficial Excellence. So this level was just sort of a way to show off how Waylay can work with these launchers. And so that was kind of interesting. You can sort of like manipulate where the launchers are shooting you. And you can do a punch in the air and sort of launch yourself a short distance. So you can get all the gems in this level, which I spent some time doing. Otherwise I could have cleared it a little bit faster at least. Yeah, as you can see I have all 8 gems, and then we hit the goal. Obviously some of the people were able to do that much faster than me, as well as possibly even hit the top of the goal. It's a fun level. And then we have this one. This one I did very poorly on, but it's a good level, so I decided to highlight it. I want to say, like, I realized later that I could have actually jumped into one of these warp rifts, but do a small jump in such a way that I could jump into this area and grab the key. And I could just follow this down to here. But I didn't do that. But I did end up beating the level, but that would have been a way for me to, like, for example, grab these 5 gems. At one point or another, I did sort of do a hop into the rift, but it was just for the sake of grabbing the key, not for getting on the platform where the key was, which I'm pretty sure in hindsight I could have done, but for some reason or another I didn't try to do it. But yeah, doing that would have allowed me to get those 5 gems. But anyway, yeah, I was kind of like confused by this level for quite a while. As you can see, I start turning in keys, and then it's just a couple of minutes till, I start turning them in before we're pretty much done. One of the things I was struggling with was I was thinking if I could somehow get the gems, then maybe the orange blocks would disappear, which would include the orange blocks from around the package, but I don't think that made all that much sense. Anyway, but yeah, apparently the thing I need to focus on was just getting the key. And then you can get the next key and the next and so on. And that was pretty much how you clear. Well, that's all for today. I have been spending some time playing some Mega Dimension Neptunia. I don't have any screenshots to share with you right now or whatever to talk about. I'll probably next week I'll do a little bit of a review because I haven't really been playing through it all that fast, so there isn't a whole lot to report about about my progress right now anyway.